How's it going, everybody? Today I'm talking about INFJs and not feeling good enough, getting into that social comparison. So if that is you, stick around. You might find this interesting. If you're new to my channel, welcome. I'm Trina Bretnell with INFJ Unfiltered. I'm an INFJ myself, plus I'm also autistic. So I like to come on here and share things that have helped me in life, and just help others that are like myself get a better understanding of who they are and really feel less alone and understood, because that was huge for me. I felt very alone, very misunderstood, and I also thought for years that I was the only one in the world like me. So it was huge when I found out I wasn't. So I thought I would come on and share tips and tricks that have helped me along the way. So welcome to my channel. I hope you find this interesting. So INFJs, this is very common. If you get into this, comparing yourself to people, like maybe it's your friends, maybe it's your colleagues, maybe it's somebody you don't even know, a guru on social media, whatever it may be. This is very common for INFJs. A huge culprit, I mean, there's many reasons we get into this, but a huge culprit is our extroverted feeling. We are hardwired to do this in a sense. Our extroverted feeling is the culprit of it. I call it culprit because really it is. It plays a significant role in social comparing. You're gonna have to excuse me before we get going. I have a cold, plus I'm fighting allergies because I was cutting grass. So I'm a little bit croaky today, but I'm feeling good, so I thought I would show up anyway. So I have to excuse my croaky voice. So our extroverted feeling plays a huge role in social comparison. Basically, in a nutshell, extroverted feeling allows us to see how society values things around us. So an example of that is, I'm going to use a work example. We're at work, maybe we're in a meeting, and our supervisor, our boss, whatever it may be, starts giving recognition to two other employees and, praise, that sort of thing. We see that and we catch on really quick to what is going on, what is being valued, the performance that's being valued. We have mixed feelings about that, mixed emotions, right? We're going to be happy for our colleagues because that's just who we are. But we're also going to feel pressure to perform better, to do better, because we're not getting that and we're not getting that recognition, and we're going to start thinking, well, maybe we're not doing good enough and we need to start performing better. So we start comparing our performance to our colleagues, right? And this will lead us to going down a big rabbit hole of feeling bad about ourselves, especially if we're in that negative space to begin with towards ourselves. If we're not at that place of acceptance of who we are and loving who we are and fully understanding who we are, we definitely get pulled into a negative space. I know all too well. That happened to me so much, most of my life. Another example of this is social media scrolling, and this is a huge one. Whether it be, I know lots of INFJs tend to shy away from Facebook. There are a few on Instagram. There is lots on YouTube, but it can happen on YouTube just as well, right? Scrolling, and you happen to see a post of, maybe one of your friends is on YouTube, but let's just use either Facebook or Instagram, for example. You see a friend's post talking about something that they did that was amazing. Maybe it's a trip, maybe it's a job promotion, whatever it may be, right? We, using our extroverted feeling function, we pick up and recognize what's being valued and celebrated, basically like what the social norm, I think is the word I'm looking for, is. What's normal socially to be celebrated? What's going to excite everybody? Like, what am I supposed to be doing here? It's basically what I'm supposed to be saying, right? Like, okay, they're celebrating this trip or this promotion, and I need to be doing stuff like this with my life because that's what they're doing and they're getting recognition, and I'm not doing this, so I'm not doing a very good job. Basically, in a nutshell, okay? We're feeling happy for our friend. Of course, we're feeling happy. Depending on where you are, I'm going to rephrase that, because we might feel happy for our friend, but we might not. We might actually have resentment there. I was in a space that was very negative, and I would congratulate them. I may comment on the post, probably not. I didn't really comment on social media. I would send them like a private message and congratulate them. But deep down, I was feeling a lot of resentment, right? Then we'll start comparing our life to theirs. And we might even start setting, chances are pretty good, we're going to start setting goals for our life that align closely to what is socially desirable. So if it's a trip or the promotion, we might be setting the goals that align better with that instead of really what's true for us. Okay, that's extroverted feeling in a nutshell. I hope I explained that well. I didn't confuse you guys, but that's how it really influences our comparison. Again, I didn't even say this once. Before we really get going, if you have something you want to talk about, a subject you're thinking about, maybe it's a struggle you have, maybe it's something good that you've heard about INFJs or INFJs with ASD autism, please put it in the comments or feel free to email me. I'll put my email in the description if I remember to, because I'd love to hear back from you guys. This actually is a topic that somebody asked me to talk about as well. I don't know if I threw that in there, but I thought it was a great topic when they mentioned this because it was a huge struggle for me. So anyway, back to it. Just about forgot to say that. Comparing ourselves to others isn't fair at all. It isn't fair because everybody is different. So we've got different people, different life experiences, different lifestyles. When we're comparing ourselves to, I call it the outside sources, we're always going to find somebody better than us. Okay? I mean, that's a given. There's always going to be somebody doing better than us, losing more weight than us, looking better than us, whatever, going on more trips than us. There's always going to be somebody better than us. Okay? So it's definitely not fair to compare yourself to other people. Compare yourself to you. And before you roll your eyes at me, because when I first started working on myself years ago and trying to get out of the comparison mode, and you would hear gurus say, well, you know what? You're your only competition. Compete with yourself. As an INFJ, I thought that sounded really stupid. I'm just going to be blunt with that. I thought it sounded really stupid. I mean, they said compare yourself to how you were yesterday instead of comparing yourself to somebody else, because like I said, life experience, different people altogether. We all have different strengths. We're like, they're just different people. It's not even fair. Compare yourself to yourself. Well, it didn't really make sense to me, especially when I was in a really low negative space. I thought, okay, well, I was a pathetic loser yesterday, and I'm still a pathetic loser today. That's what the thought I had going through my head. Actually, it was much worse than that. Pathetic loser is actually being nice to myself compared to what I would have said, but I can't repeat. I don't want to repeat on my YouTube channel what I said to myself because it was very nasty. And I'm not proud of it, and I try not to say any of that. But going back to the career, because I really struggled in careers because I was taking jobs that definitely were not for me, and I didn't know that because I didn't understand who I was at all. I was doing what I thought society thought I should be doing, and it was exactly what society thought I was doing, should be doing, but it didn't work for me. So I kept failing. I would compare my career from day to day and be like, well, I'm failing. I was failing yesterday. I'm failing today. I'm still going to be failing in 2 weeks. Like, compare myself to myself. Like, what good is that, right? So, I mean, yeah, it does sound silly. We have to get out of that. That is I like to call it a victim's mindset. We don't get anywhere when we're in that mindset. We need to compare ourselves to ourselves because that is a fair comparison. Okay? In order to do this, like I said, drop that victim's mindset. When we're in a victim's mindset, we can't look for solutions. We get stuck on seeing negativity. The more negativity you think about, you see, the more you're going to see it. I'm not going to get into the science behind that, but it's super interesting. It's like shopping for a red car. You see the red car everywhere then, right? Same thing happens when you're stuck in a victim's mindset and you're focused on your shortcomings and how you're failing, or maybe you don't have a steady relationship and you want one and everybody else has one, and that's what you're going to keep seeing. We need to drop that, get out of that victim's mindset. It doesn't help us at all. Just getting caught up on my notes here because I went on a tangent on that. So where was I going with this? The victim's mindset. Man, totally drew a blank. Lovely. Here goes my busy INFJ brain. Maybe it's autism. I don't know what it is. But anyway, so we need to drop it. In order to do that, we need to lean in to those functions we don't use a whole lot of. We need to lean into our sensing and thinking functions. Okay, we don't use them very often. We can use them. And I'm going to let you in on a secret. We're actually really good at using them. We just don't like using them. So what I mean by that is drop the abstract. We're very abstract people, right? So say we want, well, I want to find a partner. Well, okay, but like what kind of partner do you want to find? Is it a long-term relationship? Is it a serious relationship? Is it a platonic relationship? Drop the abstract, get very specific. Well, I want to make more money in my career. Well, okay, how much more? How much more money do you want to make in your career? Where's the number there? See what I mean by that? We need more concrete, which is why I say lean into those sensing and thinking preferences, those functions that we have. We need the number. Then keep track of it. Now, I don't recommend keeping track of it from day to day, although you can. You can if you want to. That may lead to frustration because there might not be a lot of changes from day to day. But keep track of it. From even week to week would be a little bit better than day to day. I advise every 2 weeks, compare. Once a month, right? Another key to this is keep your emotion out of it. I know, that's kind of weird because most of my videos I'm talking about, like feel those emotions. What are they saying to you, the intuition? For this, to get out of comparison, I want to drop that. Drop those emotions, numbers only. That's all that we're focused on. So an example of this is, you want a long-term, say we want a long-term serious relationship. This is a very common struggle with INFJs. We're lonely. We want somebody, right? We're having a really hard time finding that great relationship with somebody we really connect with, and you know how it goes. I'm not going to get into that. So we're going to keep track of our numbers. For June, I'm just randomly picking months. So June, we went out once. Okay, so we're going back now. It's the end of July. We're going back and we're comparing some numbers here. We see that June, we went out once and we didn't have any meaningful conversations when we went out that one time. Okay, but we went out once. Now, we look back at May. May, we didn't go out at all. Definitely did not have any meaningful conversations. But now we're going to look at our July because we're in the future now. We're at the end of July. We're going to look at July. We went out 2 or 3 times, whatever. We'll say 3. We went out 3 times. We went out and we were social. And we had 2 meaningful conversations. That's huge. That's huge. May, we didn't go out at all. Nor did we have any conversations with anybody. And I say meaningful because those deep ones that you actually can get to know somebody. But July, we went out 3 times and we had 2 conversations. That's huge. That's an improvement. That is a fair comparison. Now compare your July, you in July, to you in May. Do you see? You made progress. This works for anything. If you're losing weight, instead of comparing yourself to that fitness guru you see on YouTube that has like an amazing body, don't do that. Compare yourself to you every month and see how it goes. That's the comparison. We need to just stop looking outside of us. So I always thought of it when I was doing this, it was like those big old Clydesdale horses you see like with the buggies, and they've got those blinders on so that they can't see what's going on. I really don't know the purpose. I would assume so it's they can't see what's going on, maybe less chance of spooking them. But anyway, that's how I always thought of myself when I was doing this, is I had my little blinders on and I'm focused right in front of me. Here's my path and there's a light, like when you're walking at night with a flashlight and you're shining it in front of you in the trail, and I just see that part of it. The path behind me that I just came from, it's all lit up. But in front of me, it's just small, and all I need to focus on is what I can see with the light and just keep going. And then when I come to my checkpoint, that's my cue to stop and look back at the path I just came and see all I've accomplished. Okay? That's how I think of it. I hope that didn't confuse you. I hope that's not confusing. And I'm also not going to lie to you guys, this isn't easy. I made it sound easy. It's not easy. Not at all. It's going to feel weird. It's going to feel awkward. It's going to be hard. And you're going to feel very lost at first. Not to like burst your bubble, but we can feel weird. We can feel awkward, we can do hard things, and we can feel lost until we get good at it, right? Looking outside of us is an addiction and it's a habit, and it takes a little bit of time to break that. So in order to break that, avoid those triggers. Be mindful of it. Start noticing. We probably already know, I knew what people I needed to avoid. It was nothing against them, but there were people I needed to avoid because I knew that if I was around them, I was going to start comparing myself to them. So I needed to avoid them, kindly avoid them. Scrolling on social media, zero, none. Don't do it. I still hardly ever do it. But I did curate my social media accounts so that I only see things that will lift me up, not things that I can compare myself to, things that'll lift me up, things that'll help me. That's a huge one. Avoid those triggers. Help yourself a little bit and avoid those triggers, and it's okay to avoid them until we get good at leaning into those sensing and thinking and just focusing on the numbers, keeping emotion out of this. I hope this was helpful. If it was, I would love for you to like my video. The more people that like it, the more INFJs this gets pushed out to, and really that's what it's all about, is helping other INFJs. And if you haven't yet subscribed to my channel, I invite you to subscribe to my channel. And again, if you have something you want me to talk about, feel free to put it in the comments. And if you don't want to put it in the comments, I totally understand, because I was like that too. I am going to leave my email address, and feel free to send me an email. Thank you so much for joining. Good luck on this, and you can do it. I will talk to you again real soon with another video. Bye for now.